Good morning. Let me just see how many people we've got in this room. We've got a few just coming on now. I think there's 7 now. I don't know how to tweet it though to tell people that I'm live, so I don't know if that's something that I should be doing. I think it probably is though, to be honest with you. But good morning to everybody. Welcome to this live show. Let me just see if I can tweet it out now and see what happens. So let's just go. Who's in the chat? Is anybody in that I know or follows me on Twitter? Good morning, mate, Nils. Good morning, mate. How you doing? Are you ready for this week? Is it going to be a big one? How are you doing? Is the sound okay, first of all? Hey up, here's Tom. Hello, Giga. How are you doing? Good morning to you, pal. Right, so I think yes, he is ready for it. What a ledge. Good lad. Right. So for me, why am I doing this? Let's get into why I'm actually doing this. Morning, Liam. Liam. Liam, is that Liam off Twitter? Who I've been speaking to? I think it could be. Yeah. Hey up, Mr. Dante. Sound is perfect. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so let's get into it. Good morning, Jason. Right, so why am I actually doing this? So for me, I'm actually doing it because I have struggled. Like, I've been trading for 11 years now, and when I first started off for the first 5 years, I really struggled. Like, wherever I looked on Twitter, wherever I looked on Instagram, obviously everybody's just winning all the time, and like I just kept on losing. No matter what I did, I would just get my ass handed to me every day. If I went long, it'd go short. If I went short, it'd go long. It was just ridiculous. And no matter where I looked, whatever I saw on Twitter, everyone's just driving Lamborghinis, everybody's drinking bottles, everybody's wearing Rolexes. You know, it's not good, to be fair. So I've come on this live sort of account to sort of show people like the bad side of trading, like the bad runs that you have. Like August for me was a losing month, and I wish I would have started it the 1st of August really, because you would have then been able to see like the shit that it was. It was like difficult to deal with. Getting up every day becomes a task. It's difficult to just get yourself up and out of bed. If you've had I think I had 6 losing days on the trot. It's tough. So I'm thinking to myself, like, if I can put that on there like a real trader diary, and show people I'm willing to sit here and get my arse handed to me. Then great. If somebody learns something, if like one more pound or dollar or yen, let's say, or euro goes to Astro FX, one less, I've done my job. Like, them people that promote that lifestyle and make it all sound dead easy as if you're going to be earning thousands of pounds, it's not like that at all. It really isn't. It sucks. This is a hard graft. It's difficult. So that's why I've done it mainly. Obviously, just so people can see the real side of it. When I'm sat here crying underneath my desk in about 2 weeks' time, when my account's gone down to like $2,000 or something, then at the end of the day, you will see. You might think, "Fucking hell, I want to go get a job back at Tesco or something." So yeah, that's basically it. So stay with me. What I'm gonna do is, you can see that the funds are in my account now at the top of the page. So there's £3,000 in my account. I funded that this morning. Into the IG Index account, which are a regulated broker, by the way, as well. So like, there's none of this dealer plug-in stuff going on. IG Index are a completely UK regulated broker, so there's no guru business going on where I've sort of funded the account with demo money and stuff like that. It's a proper live account. I get broker statements through with it as well, through IG Index, but at the end of every day and at the end of every week, I'm going to go through my history, which is over here, so you can see the trades that I've taken, obviously, and you'll see the losers, you'll see the winners that I've taken, you'll see how I stick to my risk every day. Like, I will not go over the amount that I'm risking on each trade. The losses will be cut. My profits, I try and run them for as far as possible if I can, and I'll try and point you in the right direction with that and show you how I do it. So yeah, that's basically it. It's going to be completely honest. Like, it's going to be a completely honest, open account. And if you're losing yourself, or if you have a losing day, then come into the comments, like, show people like how you've lost, like how can you get better, how are you going to stop them losses? Is there a way, or are you trading a system and it's just going through a bad run at the moment, and just by keeping going, you're going to bring yourself out of that? So all of these things, this is what I want this channel to bring, and hopefully it will bring a nice little community together. I know there's loads of people struggling out there because I tweeted a message out about 2 weeks ago, and it went viral about like the mental health aspect side of trading and how it really does suck if you sat on your own. Like me here, I'm sat in an upstairs bedroom with screens in front of me all day. Don't really see any daylight. I do go out for the odd walk and stuff, but it really is a tough gig. So if we can create our own little community, you know, and get good, honest people in it who can support each other through the bad times. And I'll be on here every morning from 8:30 till 9:30, and I will then come on at the end of the night from like 8:30 until 9 o'clock until the close and go over the day. And we can all talk about it, you know. If you've had a bad day and you've done your arse, then obviously put it on there, comment, let's talk, let's chat. You can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram, and I'll talk to anybody. You know, if anybody wants any help or anybody wants a shoulder to cry on after a particularly hard day, then hit me up. I'm here, I'm free, I'm available, and I'm a normal guy. I'm not some sort of like, you know, guru who's going to try and talk you into paying him thousands of pounds for education or something like that. I'm just a normal guy that's doing the same as you or trying to do the same as you. So yeah, so let's have a look then. Is there anything else that anybody wants to right, I think I've got a question here. Do you lose any faith in your approach when you have several losers in a row? Yes, definitely. Spiritual, I lose faith instantly the minute that I have a loser, if I'm being honest. But it's through backtesting. Like somebody said on Twitter last night, like they don't backtest, but I do, and that gives me the sort of confidence to carry on, because obviously I know this is an honest story, right? I had a brilliant strategy. I backtested it for years. It made money every year, and it had 26 losers in a row, like 26 in a row. But if you're risking 1% of your account, obviously you would have been, from the high of your account, you would have gone into a 26% drawdown, which is acceptable, isn't it? You know, like people would say that's crazy. How many people would have given that strategy up, stopped trading it, you know, moved on to something else, thinking that doesn't make any money anymore? But it actually did. Over the course of the year, it was up. So you have to be very, very, very sort of confident and head sure that you're not going to like veer off onto another strategy or another way of making money just because you've had a few losers. Like, same as say, I've seen a strategy, a profitable strategy, lose 26 trades in a row. So that gives me the confidence to obviously carry on through the losses. You have to just carry on, obviously, and get your head down and not think about it. Like, don't think about the amounts of money that you lose. And I know it's the old cliche, because you do. Everybody checks the account balance, but just stick to the process. Execution is everything. What instruments will you trade live? I'll be on the DAX, to be honest with you. That's my main market. That's what I trade every day. Morning, Daniel. Cute boy. Good morning. Good morning, cute boy. How are you doing? Morning, Wayne. But that's it, buddy. But what I'm going to do is, obviously, I trade a sort of a mechanical approach to the DAX. I won't be interested if we're in the initial balance zone, which is 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. UK. If we're inside that balance zone, I aren't interested in taking a trade at all. Like, for me, if you can just see on this chart here, we are just sort of above this 8 a.m. candle here. We're just starting to have a poke out of it there. Now, I'm not interested if we're in this balance zone here. If we're in this balance zone, that is not for me. So what I do is I have an alert set above this candle, and when we break through it, that's when I try and focus on my execution side. So for instance, if we push up here and then pull back, on this pullback down, I will be looking for longs, obviously for the extension higher, and it would be the same for the short. If we popped out the bottom of the balance and we sort of pulled back as we were turning in, extending lower, I would be looking for a short trade. So at this moment in time, I am sort of sat here sort of waiting. But on a normal morning, if we wake up, and the DAX does do this a lot of times, if we wake up and just sort of go back into balance and do nothing, I will set an alert at the high and an alert at the low that notifies me by phone or email, and I always have my platform open. And then I don't need to be in like concentration mode for that. I can go and relax. I might read a book. I might watch some videos on YouTube, do some more back testing. But that's what I do, because obviously the first 5 years that I was really struggling with trading, it was tough, and I used to sit there and think like, I need to be trading. I need to be in front of this computer, like pressing these buttons. Like I'm gonna make it. I can smell that lever in them new, like that Bentley lever. I can smell it. I'm there. I've got it. And it wasn't like that. Like, less is so much more for me, and I found the less that I concentrated on actually staring at charts and just made sure that my actual execution was perfect of the strategy that I'd made for myself, I found that I didn't really need to be staring at charts. If I was staring at the charts, I'd more likely see something that wasn't happening and slip up and end up doing myself loads of damage or giving profits back by jumping into something. So I designed that on purpose, basically, to sort of keep me away from the markets when I don't need to be. It's like I look at it like golf, right? If you're a golfer off the tee, if you're really bad at bunker play, you use the club that won't put you near the bunkers. Like, you will lay up. And why do golfers lay up? Well, it's because they don't want to get near the bunkers. They might not be very good at that. So I designed my initial balance because I looked back on all of my trading results, and I basically just did my arse on consolidation days. The breakout days, the extension days, where we obviously, trend up or down, I did really well on. But the actual consolidation days, where it just messed around in and out, and I thought it was going to go up, and then I'd get stopped out, and I thought it was going to go down, it would get stopped out, and then I would start trying to play the range, and I just wouldn't be with the flow of the market, and I'd get stopped out and stopped out. So I designed that, I put that in place to obviously stop me from doing my arse, and it's worked wonders, to be fair. So I only go long above balance, and I only go short above balance. That is it. That is my strategy in a nutshell. And I will never just buy a pullback down into balance. I always wait for a slight turn, and I will never just obviously buy upward momentum into balance. I will always wait for the market to turn over, and I have certain entry criteria that will get me into the market, short or long on that, and I will show you all that in the next few weeks or whatever. But I'm also going to obviously give people some help if you want to try and make your own mechanical strategy with Bitcoin. I've got a really good edge with Bitcoin that I showed Tom last week, and he thought it was good. And if you were risking 3% of trades, you would have made around 60% on Bitcoin from the 1st of January to the 1st of September, and it's completely mechanical on a 15-minute chart. So it's like you haven't got to think anything, you just execute the strategy, and you would have made 60%, which is really good. So I'll show you all that in the next coming weeks as well. Let me just answer some more questions. Morning change. Dan Oldfield. Hi Mark. When you count the initial balance, have you included that first 5-minute candle? Yes, it is. That's how I count it, yeah. So that's how I've done all my back testing. So as you can see here, you're talking about that 8 o'clock candle there, aren't you, Dan? Yeah, so I always include that one, and I always, obviously, from the start of the 7 till the end of, it says 8 o'clock on my platform, but it actually ends at around 8:05. Now, I've back tested it. I've always used that, and I've just noticed that a lot of the time on a 1-minute chart, you would get a spike up and then a fake out down, and it's sort of, I just always prefer to use the first 5-minute candle. I think it helps me anyway. It might not help you. You might think you want to go on the 1-minute time frame and put it in on that. It will be slightly different, obviously. But yeah, I use that candle. So that's it, basically. So on this account, let me just talk you through the risk aspect of it. I am getting a risk 2% per trade. So talk to us about Will Brown. Will Brown, oh God. Will Brown, right. So has anybody seen Will Brown stuff on YouTube? That snake oil salesman. He did me. He did me, that guy did. He really did me. So yeah, he's apparently getting lawyers and solicitors on people that talk bad about him though, so I've got to obviously be careful. But I don't give a shit, basically. So this guy called Will Brown, right? He had a DAX strategy. It was about 3 or 4 years ago now, and he was saying that it had made like a certain amount of money every month or every week, and I thought, well, I trade the DAX, like that sounds pretty similar to what I was doing, and I just sort of got my strategy together at the time, and I thought, fucking hell, I fancy a bit of that, it sounds really good. So I actually I got his course, I paid for it, I think it was like 399 quid, and I paid for it. I just thought, fuck it, I'll pay for it. So I paid for it. Luckily I used my credit card, because that's how I managed to get my money back, but he sent me the PDF results through, and they were just completely wrong. Like, he was saying that he'd made this much money on this day, and he'd been long here, and he'd not been stopped out or whatever. But when I went through his results and actually saw the actual data that he'd used on his spreadsheet, you know, like all of these gurus seem to have these spreadsheets, don't they? Well, it's just all a complete load of rubbish. So his spreadsheet was wrong. His results were wrong. His strategy was basically break even for the year, and he was claiming it had made like 14% a month or something stupid like that. So I messaged him back, and he said he wasn't giving me money back at first. He did the old quiet trick on me and never email me back or anything like that. But I told him that I'd got in touch with my credit card company and they were going to take the money back off him. So yeah, he is a snake oil salesman. He really is, like, seriously, man. But this is the problem of our industry, isn't it? This is what I want to try and obviously help people with. Like, ask if you want to go to college and build a wall. Like, you will see whoever's teaching you to build a wall, build the wall. Like, none of these traders, not many people go live in front of other people. Nobody. Like, why is that? And it's because anybody can call the market. Like, my nan, if I showed my nan a chart today of the pound dollar, she would probably have a good instinct that it could go one way or the other. Like, it's just human instinct to pick up, like, the flow of something. But that's not what trading's about, is it? Trading's about execution. Like, you have to execute your strategy, your risk management. You have to do it. Like, if you don't execute and you don't execute right, you will not make any money. You could have the best strategy in the world and still execute it wrong, and you will lose money. So it all comes down to execution for me, and that's what people never show. Nobody ever shows that, and I don't think it's right. I think that as a new trader, as a struggling trader, you need to see people how they execute. You know, how do they actually execute? How do they deal with the losses? You know, and that's what nobody shows. So I'm going to, and if I do my arse, then so be it. That's good too, because that might put people off actually getting into this business. That might be a good thing if I lose this $3,000. People might think, fucking hell, I don't fancy that. So yeah, let's have a look now. Can you speak a little about trading psychology and how you went about it? Trading psychology. Psychology for me comes from having edge. So if you've got no edge, your psychology will be all over the place. Like you won't know what you're doing. So in the heat of battle, when you're risking money and you lose 2 or 3 times, like, your psychology will dip down. Everybody's will. It's impossible that you won't feel like, you know, you're in a losing situation, because you are. But you know, you go through that by backtesting your strategy, and obviously that points you in the right direction. That gives you the confidence to think that this is just temporary, and you know, you will be coming into a sort of greener period, because obviously if you've backtested and you know your most likely sequences, your win and loss sequences, then you will expect to lose. You know, like, if I have a good winning streak, I know there's a losing streak coming. I already know, because I've got my win rate. I know the amount of like I said, the losers on a trot are a big one for me. Like, if you can't handle 6 or 7 losers on a trot, and you move or you change or you blow up or you risk too much trying to win it back, you know, you will get undone sooner or later, because that will happen. It's happened to me loads of times. It's tough, and you just have to deal with it. But same as say, that's how you deal with your trading psychology. Backtest. You know, get the data in front of you so that you know just round the corner from all of those losses, you will have a winner. And that's what you have to just try and reach for, really. Liam Fitzpatrick, so delighted to be here with this ledge with edge. you don't know if I've got any edge yet, Liam. Let's leave the edge out until next week or next month, if you don't mind. But yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, as well, is I can't sit here all morning. Niels, yeah, I think that is spot on. Some people mistake psychology when it's actually lack of edge or execution. It is, but the psychologists won't tell you that, because they're making £100 a session off you. So they will say, oh, it's your psychology. Something happened when you were a child. That's the best one. Like, I spoke to one before. He's like, oh, well, it'll be something that happened in your child. Like, that's why, you know, your childhood, that's why you're, you know, you can't trade. No, that is not the case. I don't think about that when I'm trying to get along the DAX. I just, you know, I don't think about that. I was a bit chunky at school when I'm trying to get along the DAX, and a few people call me fat. No, that's not it. You know, I'm nervous because I think I might lose again, because I don't know if I've got any edge. That's why I'm like, you know, worried. Do you ever counter trend trade? No, I don't. I've tried it. It wasn't for me. Got my arse handed to me many a time, but it's just how it is, isn't it? You know, you always find what's right for you. It could be right for you, Wayne. I don't know. Everybody's got their own way of seeing these markets. Don't let my approach show you, you know, that yours is wrong if you're making money. all I'm trying to show here is that I'm not saying that my strategy is like the world's best strategy or anything. It probably isn't. But all I'm trying to show here is the execution of it perfectly. That's it. That's all I'm sticking to. Execution, perfect execution. If I can do that, I'll be happy. Why the DAX? Right. So the DAX is the market that I've looked at for the last 11 years. It moves. It's liquid. It's a bit. They say illiquid, don't they? Not liquid, sorry, but it moves. It's volatile. Every day there's a balance there that sort of gives me a bias. So that's why I trade it. Do you trade crude oil? I do like crude oil. Yeah, same as say my strategy does work on crude oil. It does. But I just found trading a couple of markets to be not. You can get very sort of into every market, can't you? And I just think that I can make money through my DAX strategy. So if I can just focus on that and make sure I do that right. I'm a typical male. Like, I can do one thing right and that's it. And that's a lot of the time, that's a big task. So if you ask me to do 2 or 3 things at, various charts, various times, stuff like that, I easily get it all messed up. Do you trade crude oil? No, that I've answered that one. So yeah, guys, that's about it. So what I'm going to do is, with this, is I'm going to come on every morning from 8:30 to 9:30, like I said, and come on late at night. And then obviously we'll go over how I've traded, if I've traded anything, because sometimes I don't even get a trade some days. And that's it, and how I've executed the strategy that I actually trade. And then I will show you how I've done, if I've done it correctly. We'll look through my account history to see the risk, to see if the risk's right, basically. And that's it. That's it. So that's what I'm going to do. And sort these gurus out. We're going to go through these gurus. I'm going to... No data. What's going on now? I think my stream might be going down. Is everybody... Can everybody still hear me, or have I gone? Has it gone down? I think we're back on. Can everybody hear me still? Hopefully DAX doesn't change too much once the head in 10 more. Yes, that's something I've seen, that is. I have seen that, yeah. Thank you very much, Spear Chief, still fine. I have seen that. I don't know about that, you know. That's something that I am going to have to have a look at, but I'm sure it'll be fine. DAX 40, yeah, sounds good. All good, mate. Thank you, Liam. Dan Alpha didn't go down, all good, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know whether to do this on my MacBook Pro, to be honest with you, because I've got a MacBook Pro that's a little bit better, and it seems to get it's got a bit of a faster processor in it. So with my PC, I've got a Dell Tower that I brought off a good mate, and it's really good. But my MacBook for streaming is just so much better. So Carlos, cute boy, yes. So how are you guys doing anyway? Is everybody doing well? Did you have a good week last week? What do you guys trade? Let me know. Let me know if you trade Bitcoin, or if you just hodl it, or if you're in it, or you're sort of investing in it. Like, what's everybody trading? And the most popular one, I'll try and come up with a mechanical edge for it and see if we can go through an edge together with it. So let me know what you trade. Do you trade the DAX? You trade the Euro, Pound? Who have we got? Are you oil traders? Someone mentioned oil. Let me know, and I'll try and come up with something good. Because all these gurus say indicators don't work, but they do. And this is the big gripe I've got. Like, most of these gurus online, right? Most of them, this is how they work. They will try and say that something doesn't work, and then they will give you the answer for that type of strategy, and say like, well, this works, that doesn't. For instance, right? I've been on a well-known guru page this weekend, and the dude's got more discount codes than Amazon on Black Friday, right? He's got like discount codes everywhere, and he's like solving everybody's dreams. And it's like, I think he used to be like a Goldman trader or something like that. It's like, come on, mate, you're not trading, you're just a salesman now. Like, it's unbelievable. Everybody wants to put everybody down and then sell you something to, like, that doesn't work, but here you go, I've got the answer for you, but it's 500 quid. Like, it just sucks. Honestly, more discount codes than Amazon on Black Friday. That's the guru page I've been on this weekend, and it's horseshit. It really is. And if people fall for that, you'd be far better off spending that 500 on some new tech for yourself. Like, go get yourself a Mac, go get yourself a nice new screen. Like, go and invest in yourself, so that you feel like sitting here for longer and back testing. You know, if that's what a new screen will do for you, or a new computer, or even like a new mouse, or a new camera, get on YouTube. You know, come and sit with me. Come and sit with me. I've got a spare chair. But you'd be better off investing in yourself. But people don't. They just spend money on these daft things. These sort of, you know, no one's got the Holy Grail. Nobody has. Because if they had, they wouldn't have discount codes on their guru services, would they? You know, like, they just wouldn't. Let's have a look. Pound and euro, right? Yeah. So the pound and euro could be good. That's a good one. Huge drawdown last week, Bjorn. DAX fine, but crude got me bad. Right. So smashed it already. Just about to buy a Rolex. Choosing one now. Tom, you haven't got a Rolex. No chance. You've got one of them heart monitor watches, haven't you? That you sit watching when you get into a trade, right? So Tom's got a heart monitor on his wrist, and when he gets into a trade, his heartbeat goes up to like 109 or something. It's not good, but that's what trading does for you guys. It really does. Bjorn, so if you had a huge drawdown last week, right? So was that acceptable for you? You know, the huge drawdown that you had. Was that acceptable? Did you go through your risk limits? Like, how can you stop that? Like, is there a way that you could have stopped it? Did you get stopped out too many times? Did you enter too much? Like, was your risk too much? Were you in too big? Did you just trade too much and go through too many losses? Like, what happened, bud? Tell us about it. Let's go through it. Nils, move more of the access for you slowly, but it was footsie psychology issues. Yeah, me too. That footsie man, it's a sucker. Ask Footsie Day. That's who you need to be, Nils. Follow Footsie Day on Footsie. What happened to that guy? I think he's living in Thailand now. He had to move to Thailand because he lost all of his money trading the Footsie. He is an absolute legend. I followed him for years, and people even subscribe to that guy, right? He is the biggest scammer ever. And he had subs, and I've heard he was an alcoholic. And people subbed to him. They loved it. But this is what happens. These traders, it's not good. He's living in Thailand now. Apparently he's stuck in Thailand. He can't get back home because he's lost all of his money and he can't afford a flight home. So that's what the footsie can do to you. The trader life, eh? Got into trading through crypto, got bummed by futures, so now trade spot only. Started trading the indices a few months ago, pretty early in my trading career. Darren, yes. Well, keep them losses tight, Darren. If you've just got into it, don't obviously leverage into anything. And if you've got a little bit of equity, put it to one side and save it, dude. Just trade very small, seriously. That's the one thing that I would have wished that I did. For the first 5 years of my trading career, I just basically, I thought that it's easy, you know, like, as I said, everyone seems to have a Lamborghini and a Rolex, and I'd done really well in other business sort of ideas that I'd got. I was a market trader at first, yeah, so I've always been a trader of some sort, a car trader, and then obviously got into this, and I just thought, it's going to be easy. I've been successful in my other two ventures, so this is going to be easy. It wasn't. If somebody would have said to me, like, if you've got a 20 grand account, if somebody just would have said to me, like, look, I'm gonna look after the 18 for you for 5 years, and I'm gonna give it you back. I'm gonna put it into a tracker for 18 years, an S&P index fund or something. For 5 years, and I'm gonna put that 18 grand in there for you, and you keep the 2. And if you lose the 2, you're not having any more of the 18. Like, that would have been so good for me. But obviously, after the 5 years, I've had to win that money back. And it just sucks because you just keep digging a hole for yourself. And it really is tough. It really is. And if you start out, you think it's easy. And the worst thing is beginner's luck. You do really well on demo. You know, you do really good. And then obviously you just give back and then lose and lose and lose and lose. But yeah, but there is a corner to turn. You can turn the corner. I did, and it's good. It is good when you turn the corner. But same as say, a lot of the time you've dug yourself a hole that big that you're nearly in Australia, man. Like, my hole was big. I was fucking nearly in Australia, and I live in England, so that's how deep it was. But you get yourself out of it, and it obviously it comes. But it was tough. It really was. Let's have a look. I was at Futech several years ago after Tom, but couldn't crack it. But the markets remain a lifelong fascination. They do, buddy, and that's the thing, don't they? They do, and obviously calling that trade, you know, like, this is what keeps everybody coming back. Because if, you know, you'll see a chart and you'll think, right, that's going to go up, and then it goes up, and it's like, fucking hell, I knew it was going to do that. and I can do this. I can trade. You know, I can call the market, but it's the execution that's the issue, that where people slip up, and that for me is the number one thing that I had to crack. Execution is the number one, and obviously being okay with losing money is the other massive one, like taking your losses. So yeah, that was it for me. Owen trade stocks too. Lot of that change. FTSE DAX down, Nasdaq Nikkei. Too many Egyptian traders smashing it. You're trading everything, dude. FTSE DAX down, Nasdaq. Nice one. Very early for me. Good lads. Bjorn drawdown resulted in a smaller tilt. Acted a bit more emotional. Well, this is it, isn't it? This is what happens. You've got to stop that. You've got to come up with something that can stop that. You know, nip it in the bud. Even if it's a case of like, you know, taking the money out of your account so you can only hit the market with the smallest amount possible. That can work. It really can. Give your wife or your partner your bank cards or something, so that when that money's gone in the account, you have to physically go and say to her, like, you know, I'm done. I've lost this money. So that you are obviously being honest with somebody about your losses, because a lot of people aren't honest with the losses. You try and hide them. Why the DAX over the FTSE trade? FTSE had a decent week last week. Yeah, some bad weeks getting beat up. Being it in trades I shouldn't have been in. Also felt good as only traded strategy, so easy to accept losses. Yeah, it is. When you're feeling like you're getting beat up, though, that's not good. You need to obviously come up with something that will stop you from that. Darren 5k trading CFDs down as low as £1 a point till I feel I found my feet. Yeah, that's right. And you shouldn't be ashamed of that, honestly. Lambo can be next to you. Exactly. You should never be ashamed of that. You know, like, all these people that are trading like 10 lots and 20 lots and stuff like that, half the time it's not their money, half the time. There's very few people that are trading their own account that big. And, you know, like, half of them are scammers. So if you're trading £1 a point, honestly, and it's your money and you're doing it all above board and it's your money, well done, dude. Like, you know, brilliant, that's good. And that's how you should be doing it until you've made some money. Make some money, make the market's money, take the market's money off the market and then start leveraging your money. That's what I wish I would have done when I started out. So yeah, well done, Darren. So yeah, guys, so it's 9:18 and there's no trade yet. This is the life of a trader, just sat here, like, doing nothing. Let's just have a quick gander, see if there's anything potentially that's on this DAX for me. See if we've had a big enough dip. It's quite a big balance this morning. You know, that for me is something that I would sort of get away from, to be fair. Like, the size of the balance with the DAX always is, it just creates a choppy environment. So I was talking about this on Twitter last week. So obviously you can see the high of the balances here at 719, and you can see that the lower the balance is here at 606, right? So you're talking, we had a few balances last week that were over 100 ticks, so relatively, it is still quite high going over the last 10-day period, right? So I'm always very, very careful around these days, because I've noticed when I was backtesting that the days with the smaller balance tended to be the days where I made more money. And how that works is, obviously, if you look at the average range of a day, if it's already done a decent amount of that in between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, the theory goes that the big players have got their positions on for that day. So you are expecting less of a trend type day. Now obviously it can still happen. You can still get a trend type day with a big balance, because obviously it's not a 100% rule, but the probability says that it will be more of a choppy reversal type day. Or a day where you don't get a really sharp extension out of balance. Now, I'm always very careful on these days, so I will take, what I would be looking at for today is I'll be taking a look at these highs here to go, and we want them to be taken and swept like that, and then solid green candles to the upside. And then obviously on the next pullback, if we get a pullback down, on the turn of that pullback, I will then trade the extension higher if that happens. And I would probably put my stop beneath the local swing low of the next pullback. So let's say we go up and then we pull back. As we pull back there, I would enter the long there for the extension higher, and my stop would probably go underneath these lows here. But it would be a trade that I wouldn't really fancy, to be honest with you. I would have to see a decent leg out of this first, and that the reason is the big balance. It would put me off today. I'm not sure about it. Like the balances for me that I make the most money on are like 40, 45, in between like the 40 and 70 region. Once it goes above 70, I seem to have more losing days with my strategy, so I just become a bit more picky with them. I saved myself a couple of losses last week by being a bit more picky and not getting into the market. So yeah, that's how I trade it. So I would love to show you a trade, but obviously there's nothing happening at the moment at all. So I will basically just stay out the market. That's what we have to do. Let's have a quick read through. The 5-minute bar in 8 of 5 has by itself double the range of your. I know, Spear 2. Yeah, that's a good point, but that's why I use it. It's a funny one, but that's how I backtest basically, and it just I don't know why I use that, but for me, I think if you go back and look on the initial balances, the 5-minute bars where it's more consolidated, and you haven't got this big 5-minute bar like so, they are a lot more tight, and those are the days where you tend to get a open drive and then a trend type day. So they're the days that I make money on. So that's why I include it, because obviously I can see if the market's driven up or not, and obviously the balance that I use is that, and I will always pick the smaller type balances for the best type days for my strategy, because it's like this, right? If the balance is tight and it's 50 pips, and the average range of the day of like the last week or so is like 180, there's a lot more probability that you're going to see, a good move, isn't there? Because obviously you've got the average range, which is high, the initial balance, which is small. Now, them days for me are the days where I can make really good R on my position. So if I can get into a trade with a 20 pip stop on that day, and the market will go 150 ticks, like I can make really good R. Like that's what I'm here to do. So I'm here to make money. I'm not here to like just trade. So I want to pick the best days that give me the highest probability of making money, and that's how I do it. So I use the days with the smallest balance, and in a decent ATR, sort of average true range market, which the DAX offers because it's volatile. So that's how I set up. I'm here to make money. I have to trade to make money, obviously, but I want to pick the days that can pay me and give me the highest probability of making the most money. Because I don't want to just make my broker rich at the end of the day by getting into the market on days when I'm not likely to make money. If you understand that. I don't know if you get me. How do you fill the gaps between trades, or would you just walk away? Yeah, I do. So I'll set my alarm. So in a minute when I log off, I will set an alarm. So I will put an alarm here above this high. Yeah, like one tick above that high, put an alert in. You can go to IG there, put a price alert in. I will have my phone on me, it will send me a push notification straight away. I'll keep this open though, my platform will be open. And then obviously because I'm not trading that breakthrough, that breakout through there, and I'm only waiting for a breakthrough and then a pullback, I can then monitor the charts, Connor, I can get myself focused. So that's what I do. I just use alerts all the time, and obviously then I can go downstairs, have some breakfast, have a cup of tea. I might even go for a walk, just to obviously get some fresh air. But I always make sure my phone's fully charged up, and I always make sure my MacBook is with me at all times, like if I'm ever out, because I do sometimes go out. It's not, for me, trading isn't about sitting here like in front of the computer all day, like, trying to trade the market. Like there is only so many opportunities with the DAX every day where you can make money. There just is. And it's either a day where I can make money or it's a day where I can't, and I have to just walk away on them days, and I always do. I'm always prepared to walk away. The 5-minute bar ending 8 of 5 has about, yeah, I've read that one, sorry, Spear 2. Do you trade FX? But the pound euro and the pound dollar is perfect for the initial balance, and I will show you that as we go on in the week, and how it's the same with the pound US dollar. If you put in 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. high and low, you want to be on the side of the flow once that balance breaks. You really do. Have a look at it. Do it. Go to a chart. Put in pound euro or pound US dollar. Bracket it off the high and low, like I've done here with the DAX. Include the first 5-minute candle and include the 7 a.m. candle. and just put it on your chart and have a look at it and see if it makes sense to you. So this zone here, we don't trade in this zone at all. Not at all. But if we get above it and we start making structure that's highs, lows like that, then obviously we want to try and go long, because somebody bigger than you is pushing that price through the initial balance zone, and they're trying to get the positions on, and then they're not bothered about price. Like I've found that this is how I look at things. Support and resistance for me on the 5-minute time frames and the day how I day trade, it doesn't really work. Like when you get a trend day, whoever's making that market move is not bothered about a 1 hour level. Like they're just not. They're just buying that market because they've got excess orders that have come in, and they've been told to look, go and buy that market. So they're just buying it. They ain't bothered about, oh, like there's a swing low there from previously, or oh, there's a moving average there, or something like that. Like they might have a look at the daily ones or something like that, but they're just buying the market. So I have found that once obviously the initial balance goes and somebody's willing to take that market and push, then normally they're doing it for a reason, and you want to be on that flow. You want to be on that person's flow. You want to be trying to buy when they're buying, because if they're moving the market, they've got some serious size on, haven't they? So that's how I see it. How do you fill the gaps? Yeah, walk away. Do you trade FX? No. Well, I do and I don't, but I focus on the DAX. I do trade the pound though. I do like the pound with the initial balance, but very, very sporadically. The day type has to be a certain day type and a full trend type day. How do you handle changes in volatility? Do you change your position size? Yes, definitely. So my position size will always be to risk the same amount of money. So I will always reduce my stop size to risk the same amount of my total account size. You'll see that once I enter a trade, because at the moment, if I'm risking 2% a trade and my account's £3,000, I'll be risking 60 quid on the first trade. Now, if the stop is 20 pips or 30 pips or 50 pips, I will still be risking 60 quid, if you understand. It's Monday, you also have to wait until the big boys wake up. Yeah, well, maybe they've already woken up this morning, Egyptian trade with the DAX. Same as say, somebody's got the positions on here this morning already. Do you ever feel guilt being away from your screen during work hours when the markets were slow? Do I ever feel guilt being away from the screen during work hours when the markets were slow? Do you mean, do I ever feel guilty from not sitting in front of the screen? No, never. I actually enjoy not being in front of the screen. It's good, because you can obviously get on with your life and enjoy your day. You don't have to. For me, you don't have to be in front of the screen. You can get it. You can use alerts to obviously point you back to get in front of the screen. And with today's technology that we've got, you don't always have to be in front of the screen. The phones nowadays, the iPads nowadays, the laptops nowadays, like the Wi-Fi everywhere. You can have dongles, you can have data. You don't need to be in front of the screen. I found being in front of the screen for me made me do stupid things, like look for a trade. Like I was looking for a trade when I was sat in front of the computer, always looking for a trade, and it was always the wrong trade. I would always see something and just think, right, that's happening. I need to get long, right? But no, it was a massive problem for me. So I had to take myself away from the screen, but then put alerts in to bring me back at the right times, at the real right times, to obviously, where I was going to be more probable to make money on the trade. So for me, why look at the screens if your edge isn't there? There's just no point. You might as well go and do some back testing. Do you trade pound yen? Have you considered volume as an important for predicting trend type days? No, I haven't. There's always volume on the first few candles in the DAX. For me, I've never really gained an edge from it. The flow above the balance will, like this is how I look at it, right? Above if we're below the initial balance, I have never seen an uptrend ever. I've seen a reversal, but I've never seen a solid uptrend below the initial balance. And it's the same with above the initial balance, right? I have never seen a downtrend above the initial balance. I've seen a reversal, an up-day reversal. But for me, I make most of my money with trend type days. Like I hold my winners on them days and make the market pay for all of my losers. And then big winning days, they pay me and they make my account, and obviously that's how I trade. Now there's not many of them, but that keeps people from seeing my strategy, which I think is a good thing. Like if my strategy was profitable every day, and it's not, by the way, it's really not. You'll see that. Like I often have 6 days on the chart where I lose, but then on the 7th day I'll hit it for like 8 or 9R or 10R and win all my losses back plus profit. So I just use the balance basically. There's no volume. I don't want to make it complicated at all. My entry criteria is very simple, and it's just basically all about risk, the risk in the right amount, but obviously making my winners pay for my losers. Like you'll see, I don't get out of my winners. I hold them, and I make that market pay me. And them days where the trend just keeps on going and going and going, and all the resistance just gets smashed, and everybody thinks, oh, it's got reverse, it's got to turn back down. No, them days when it just goes like parabolic, I'm still in on them days, and I make that market pay. I make it pay me. So like my winners are normally all big, like in R terms, like 5, 6, 7, 8R. That's it. And I have loads of 1R losers, loads, and I like that because I love taking a 1R loser. Because I know sooner or later I'm going to get a big winner. But no, to go back to your point, volume for me is not really a factor. Just the balance. I just use the balance, and you'll see my entries once I enter. Darren, I mean, feeling like you should be sat at the screen doing something. Like I said, still a pretty green trader. Well, yeah, Darren. I mean, doing something though. So, what does doing something mean? Are we doing something and making money, or are we just doing something for the sake of it? I understand your question completely, dude, and yeah. So, are we doing something, or are we making money? Like, what are we doing here? We're here to make money. That's it for me. So, if I can't make money, and I know that my strategy can't be executed, then what's the point in doing anything? You might as well just chill out and go and do something else that can, make you happy. Because unless sitting in front of a screen makes you happy. It doesn't for me though, but for me doing something is like going for a walk or going for a run or going downstairs and having some breakfast, taking my dog for a walk, or anything but this, basically. Anything but this makes me happy. But I'm here to make money, and that's it. That's all I like to do. Do you not get frustrated on the days when it does not pull back, it just rips higher from the open? Right, so that's a good question, Wayne, right? So that does happen some days. It does happen, and it doesn't happen a lot, because if you go and look at the DAX, how it trades, it very rarely doesn't pull back. There's a high probability that if it goes parabolic before the US session, it will pull back into the American Open, and that's when I try and get long then. So if it goes parabolic all morning and there's no pullback, for me to get long on, I will just wait, because there's a high probability that when the US market opens, we do pull back, and then obviously that's when I'm interested in getting long. And then normally on a trend day, what happens is we parabolic all morning into a US session, then we get the pullback on the American Open, and then normally you get the extra extension, when you rip right until 9 p.m. UK time, and that's the leg that I try and make money on then. So I don't get frustrated. It's not good, because obviously if you look at your stats and you look at the charts that you've got, and you can see that the people who buy the big green candles on a parabolic day, are they likely to make, before the US session, are they likely to make money, or are they likely to get retested? Now, I've seen probability-wise they will get retested, and that's where, if they get their stop beneath a low, they get stopped out. They normally think that's it, it's the end for that trend, and then all of a sudden you get the fake out through their stops. It takes all their money off them. They get stopped out, and that's the point when I then go long and expect the extension into the 9 p.m. Euro close. So no, not get frustrated, but I know what you mean. You do always want to be on it if it's going up. I am only human, yeah. But I just know that buying the highs is not something that I like to do. Do you not get frustrated on the days? Yes, I've read that one. OMG came to the same conclusion about adjusting contract size to stop size for same money risk on each trade and setting alerts. Nice to get some confirmation when my logic was sound. Yeah, you've got to do that, Egyptian trader. You really have. You have to risk the same amount. I mean, that's what I do anyway, because obviously if you're not risking, why would we say that? So your best trade might be when you've risked the least, and your worst trade might be where you've risked the most. Now, you don't want that, because obviously you could be a really good trader, and if your risk's all over the place, You might have a really good day and be risking nothing, and have a really shit day and be risking everything. Now that's not good. Now, you don't really know when your good days and bad days are going to come if you're discretionary, and if you're trading a mechanical strategy also. Who knows? Like, nobody knows really. So you've got to have your risk the same at all times. The risk has to be right, so that means that you know every day that you're in the market for the same amount. So on your good days, you can make money. You know you're going to pay for all them losses, and on your losing days, you know how much you've lost. You know that you've lost a certain amount of your account that you're okay with at the start of the day in the morning. If that makes sense to you, buddy. Jason, what's on trend days? Do you move your stop to new lows as the market moves to manage the evolving risk? Do you mean on trend days, do I move my stop to break even? If that's what you mean, Jason. I do move my stop to break even, but only once I go 2R up. If I go 2R up, I move my stop to break even on any entry. Just because of how I've looked at it, my back testing and stuff like that, that once I went through 2R, a lot of the time, if I moved my stop to break even, it made me more profitable over the course of 100 trades or 1,000 trades. So I do that, yeah. But until it gets to 2R, no, I'll keep my stop where it is when I took the trade, and I'll be willing to take the loss. You see this DAX? You see what I mean by choppy day? You've got a big balance, and look, now it's starting to curve back in. So for me, there's nothing to do now. There's nothing to do. Like I'm just not even interested. I'll put an alert above here when I shut down, so that my phone and my MacBook are on, and then that's it. But you can see what I mean by that. Like that for me is something that I would be not interested in at all. You're going live at 8:45. Is that not too late? There must be many days when it triggers early. Very few, Wayne. Very few. I very rarely get a trade before 8:30, buddy. Very, very rarely. And if we do get an open drive where it's pushing through and I see it, I'll just jump on and put a live stream up straight away. But yeah, 8:45. It might be 8:30 though, buddy, to be honest with you. The problem why I do it at 8:45 is because I've got my little boy Henry. He goes to school at about 20 to 9. He just goes to school just down the lane, and he's noisy and stuff. You know, he's running around the house. So I have to obviously I have headphones that I put in, but to speak to you guys on camera, I thought I'd come on at 8:45 because he's very loud and he runs up and down. So that's why, buddy. Really. Thanks. Do you move above break even at 3 to 4R, etc.? No, never. I take a first scale at 3, in between 3 and 4R. I do take a scale of 20%, and I also take a scale of 20% at 5R, but then I'll leave the rest on and make it pay. It's all mechanical with me, and that's how I do it. But yeah, so stop to break even at once you go into 2R, and then obviously scale slightly at 3, in between 3 and 4R, and then scale again at 5, and then leave it on completely, and make the market pay me. So that's it basically, guys. So has anybody got any more questions? Because I'm going to go downstairs and get a cup of tea here now. Is that okay for everybody? But I will check back in later on. I will have a live tonight at 8:30 to check back in and have a look at the market. So if you wanna come back for that, that would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and let me know. Let me know if you have any more questions today about anything at all. But go on to the markets. Put the initial balances in on the pound. Have a look at Bitcoin, right? This is one that I can point out to you on Bitcoin. The first day of every month is dead important. So get a 15-minute time frame up on Bitcoin. Go to the first day of every month. Put in the high and low of the price action on the first of every month. So let's say the 1st of August. Go to the high and low of the price action and look at the market. And below it, you're looking at short, and above it, you're looking at long. And see if it makes sense to you. Cheers, Mark. Thank you, guys. Lovely. Nice one. Well, yeah. I'll see you tonight at 8:30, but thank you very much for checking in, and have a good day. Go and smash it. I hope you have a really good day. See you later on. Bye, guys.